Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your attention today. My name is Eric Castongia. I'm your group's real estate broker. And I just wanted to give you a little snapshot on who I am. And let me get to the next shot. I'll give you a little bit of a snapshot about who I am. I've been selling real estate in San Francisco since 1994, focusing on residential investment and mixed-use property. I added the Northern Peninsula into my business in 2010. I'm also a licensed architect. I don't practice anymore, but I practiced for 9 years prior to getting into real estate, and I worked on a wide variety of projects. I've also taught interior design to pre-master's level students. I'm a landlord. I project manage properties to get them ready for sale for my clients. I did construction administration while I was an architect, meaning I was actually working on job sites and coordinating with contractors. I'm a self-proclaimed do-it-yourselfer on a modest scale, and I worked in my dad's farm equipment store growing up, and my brother still owns and runs that business. I lived in San Francisco for 25 years before moving to Pacifica. I'm married to Tom, and I have two feline children, Felix and Oscar. This is us in Italy last year. We've been married for just over 3 years and together for 18. And the key to my success is working with clients who trust me and allow me to challenge them and make the best decisions. So today I wanted to just sort of cover, where does Eric work? And the answer is the sky is the limit. I'm licensed in California, so I can only practice here in California, but I can refer business anywhere. And I basically have. So just in recent years, there's been a lot of people moving to Portland. I've had some people moving to Seattle. This house is from some good friends of ours who moved to Portland. I sold their condo in the city a couple of years ago, and they were able to sell that with, I think we had 16 offers on that property. They were able to pay cash for this one, and they're able to retire probably at 62. So good for them. I've also referred out of the state, out of the country, and I definitely refer within California and outside the Bay Area because it's just too much to know. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Northern Peninsula transactions today, just so that I'm not sort of seen as being totally a San Francisco agent, although that's where I've done most of my business over the years. But I wanted to show you some current transactions I have right now. Here's two that I have with buyers. One's in Pacifica, the one on Yosemite. They started in San Francisco, and I introduced them to Pacifica. A growing family, their second child is on the way. And they're getting a lot of space for their money. And the one on Futura is actually the one that Christine Crocker referred the business to me for. That's in Belmont. Thomas is going over there tomorrow with me to meet with the clients and give them some ideas of what they want to do with the property. Some past transactions. This is one you guys probably saw. You've probably seen this one before. I sold this in Burlingame last year. And it's a really cool house. It's got a great view of the airport. You can sort of see it there through that window. This one was listed at $2.15 million and it sold for $2.8 million. This was an interesting transaction in that I had it on the market and we were ready to get it ready to take offers on it. And one of my sellers died unexpectedly. And we ended up having to pull the property off the market really quickly. The remaining spouse called me on Saturday morning. Her wife had just died 3 hours before. And she called me and said, "I'm sorry, I can't sell the house." And I said, "Absolutely, I totally understand." So I had an open house scheduled for that day. And I said, let me have the house open so at least I can tell people that it's no longer available, because I said there's people that probably won't have heard that I'm withdrawing it. So I started pulling the staging apart while I was there at the open house and let the few people that showed up know. And within a couple of months, though, after she got her breath, she did sell the house. We did not go back on the market again. We actually just went back to the 7 people who already had interest in it and sold it to one of them. So it actually, in the end, it worked out. And she probably got more money this time than she would have if we'd actually sold it at the time before. This is one from a couple of years ago in Daly City. And the picture in the upper left-hand corner of the screen is what it looked like when I started with it. And this was also an unexpected death. The sister and brother ended up having to sell this property for their sister, and she was a bit of a hoarder. And so when I showed up in the property, it was full of stuff, and she had multiple cats. I can leave it at that, and you can figure out what that means. And we had to clear the property out and paint it, and it completely changed. It was astonishing. I think we got 8 offers on this one. So real estate agents are problem solvers, and Lindsay will chime in here at some point and say, yep, absolutely. We have to be ready to pivot, get through a crisis. Stuff always comes up during a transaction. We have to be ready to deal with it. My friend Nicole, I'm actually friends with her father. I've been in Nicole's life since she was born, and she has 2 kids of her own right now. She put this up on Facebook, and I love this quote: pour yourself a drink, put on some lipstick, and pull yourself together. I think that is an awesome quote, and that's what we have to do every day. So I don't do this by myself. I have people behind me. When you hire me, you get me, but I have people behind me that I can ask questions of if something comes up. Financial people, mortgage brokers, bankers, accountants, financial planners, attorneys, Erica obviously being one, out-of-state real estate professionals absolutely are a big part of my business. Lindsay helped me with a referral up in the North Bay for an appraiser recently. That's why she's in our group meeting today. Michael has given me referrals. I've given him referrals. Thomas, I'm working with him on stuff right now. It's, you know, this is the team. We have to have people that we can trust available behind us when we have things happening. So what can you do, and what can you listen for when you're talking to people? You have family, friends, or coworkers. Listen for things like, it's so expensive here, I don't think I'll ever be able to afford it. Or I'm thinking of moving and I don't know if it's a good time. Or I'm tired of dealing with tenants. Or I would sell and I don't want to pay capital gains. Or my accountant told me I need deductions on my taxes. Those are all conversation starters. Those are all, wow, have you talked to anybody? I know somebody to talk to. And here we are. That's so funny. Eric was just telling me stories. So I'm happy to talk to people. I'm very low pressure. I'm not going to talk anybody into anything. If I can help them, great. If I can't, I'll try to push them to the right person. What I really want to do is develop relationships with people, and you never know where your next business is coming from. It might come from someone else that they refer you to. So this is definitely a long game situation. And we're getting to the end of our presentation. I just want to thank you for your time and attention. And this note, I'm putting this up today because I had a closing on Monday. I represented some buyers for a 2-unit building in San Francisco. And I got this note, and it actually made me have a little cry because it was just so nice. So this is why we do what we do. And helping people is just really a powerful thing, and I'm really grateful to be able to do that. So thank you very much for your attention, and I am available to answer any questions you have. The market is strange because of the pandemic. There's lots going on. It's very property specific. I'll answer what I can, and I may not be able to answer anything very clearly.
You know, I don't have a question, but I like the slide that you showed up about what to listen or how to introduce you. And the one that caught me the most was the last one where it says, I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'll have him call you. You know, I think when you're referring to someone and they know like, oh, I know this person, it gives that special meaning behind it. And of course, we're not meeting in person anymore, but I think it goes a long way to say, I'm having breakfast with Eric tomorrow, or I'm going to see Eric tomorrow. You know, it's just a great introduction, and it lets the person that you're referring to know this is someone that you trust. You see them every day or weekly at least. And so I just think that goes a long way.
Good. Thank you.
It's a great way to introduce.
I'm happy to do virtual meetings if you want to be part of it. I like warm introductions, so just be a resource.
Eric, I just want to chime in. You mentioned that you're low pressure, or you said something like that. You're not going to talk anyone into a sale or twisting their arm. And that's really important for people to know, because a lot of agents are like that, and that is their style. And so it sounds like when you're referring someone to Eric, you're going to get someone who has more of the human aspect, which in our business is so needed, I feel like. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I agree with what Lindsay said. And
I guess I covered it, huh?
Eric, I have a question actually. So you were, in your presentation, you were saying that you work on residential, investment, and mixed use.
Right.
What is an example of a mixed use?
Well, a mixed use would be something where maybe there is a commercial and a residential in the same building. So I just got a phone call actually from a previous client who actually lives in Petaluma now. I sold her house in West Portal, and she and her partner own a building on 9th Avenue in San Francisco in the inner Sunset. And very interestingly, both of her tenants, she's got one commercial and one residential tenant, and they are both giving notice, and she's going to have a completely vacant building, which means that she's going to really have a great asset. And especially if it's vacant, I think it's going to be really good. It has parking. It's going to be completely vacant. It's in a great neighborhood. And very interestingly, it is not rent controlled. So because you're under eviction protection, but not under price protections, because when you've got one unit, one residential unit is not rent controlled for the financing bit or for the monthly rent.
very interesting. Okay. Any other questions?
On that rent control topic, Eric, so if you have like a house in the city, it's not rent controlled if it's one unit?
It's eviction controlled. You can't ask the tenant to leave, but you can get full market rent every year. So
Okay.
if you had a 2-unit building, for instance, or you have a single family home with an in-law unit, that's considered 2 units. So you're limited to 60% of CPI every year to increase your rent. With 1 unit, you are not.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. Any other
That's interesting.
questions? Well, thank you.
I just want to, sorry, just one quick thing. So my friends who I referred you to, Eric, when I first talked to her about it and asked her what her goals were, this was a month ago, she just said, oh, we're not looking to do anything right now. We're just looking to buy and sell maybe later down the line. I think it's probably a testament to their experience with you that less than a month later, you guys are already in contract on a new house. So thank you for taking care of them.
Well, you know what was interesting about them too, there was another property that they liked that I thought was a can of worms. And I told them that, you know, I said, look, you're going to be the one to buy it. You've got to live in it. But I really think that this is going to end up being a problem. You know, you're going to have water problems. You're going to have other things going on. So I really think you ought to reconsider this. And in the end, I think they picked the right one.
Very good. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, everybody.
So we are gonna start closing our meeting. We're gonna go around the room. We're gonna give our testimonials. So guests and visitors, when you're called upon, feel free to share any thoughts you had about today's meeting. And again, you know, thank you so much for joining us. It was great seeing everybody.